Everyone, you must be very tired by now. This is the last talk of the day. My name is Kanato Chophy. I'm from a small hill state in this called North Central Nagaland. So as our friend just mentioned, we are the highest Baptist state in the world. So we beat even Mississippi and Texas with regards to the Baptist number. In fact, within the Baptist community, Baptist is a type of. Baptist is a form of Protestant Christianity. So we have a term calling Nagaland as as the Baptist Vatican of the world. I mean, that's how fascinating India is. A tiny state, having a term like Baptist Vatican of the world. So what I will be doing is I'll be speaking on the Nagas. So this ethnic community called Nagas. If you want to see how a Naga looks like, this is how we look like. I'm sure how many of you at least have heard or seen or heard something about Hornbill Festival? Oh, thank you, thank God. Yeah, that is a Naga cosplay. Huh? That is not how actually a Naga looks like. I mean, I think a Naga looks like this, so you can see that. So we are spread over Manipur and then in Arunachal Pradesh, which Dr. Kustub just talked to us, Assam and this Sagaing region of Burma. So we are very much transnational people. What I'm going to be talking about the Nagas is that I think there's been, of all the tribes that I've been reading about, since I'm an anthropologist, I write a lot about tribes of Northeast India, especially from Central and Eastern India. If there is one tribe which is very much exoticized, it's the Nagas. Maybe it's because of our colorful headgears and we have these beautiful dances and our cosmology. Very tribal, as any people would say. But I think Nagas are more than that. So if you ask me, who is a 21st century Naga, right? A 21st century Naga is someone who is straddling four traditions. Our British colonial history, our American Baptist mission route, right? Our own Naga, very rich Naga culture and tradition. And fourthly, perhaps what we call as our Indian identity, which begins. I mean, people might not like, but as far as history, our history is concerned, our Indianness begins 1947, right? So those of you who are familiar with the Nagas, we call ourselves as one of the longest running insurgency in South Asia, so much so that Nagas declared independence one day ahead before India did. So that's how complex our history is. So that is something that I'm going to be talking about. So lots to say about the Nagas and our history, and I'm sure lots of books have been written on the Nagas. But what I'm going to be doing this evening is talk a little bit about Protestantism, basically what I mentioned, Protestant Christianity or the Baptist faith, which came all over from the United States. So that is how, this has played a rather very important role, because I'm going to tell you, how many of you have heard this one particular tribe called Konyak Nagas? Thank God. Yeah, so you are familiar with it. See, I'm talking about a tribe called Konyak Naga, and actually they have 33 mutually unintelligible languages. That's how diverse the Nagas are. But as far as Protestant Christianity, or as far as Baptist faith is concerned, I think this has played a very important role in shaping our identity, our ethnicity, our language. Because it's because of Protestant faith that gives some kind of semblance to what I call as the Naga identity, right? So see, I mean, it's remarkable. Like being able to reduce 33 languages into one language, which people from the different 33 groups can speak to each other. So that's how important the impact of the Protestant faith has been in Nagaland and among the Nagas. The other thing also that I also want to mention here with regard to the Nagas is that, as I mentioned, we are very transnational people. And I was just having a conversation with Dr. Kustub that there's a village called Longwa in Nagaland. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about it, where the chief's kitchen is in Burma and then the room, So you do like this and then you are crossing the international border, jump from here and there. That's how porous the border is, very transnational people. This is my fourth time to go. I'll be very brief, okay? Maybe we can have more time and space for question and answer. see, Goa is quite fascinating. I think this is my fourth time to Goa, and as I walk through, what you see about Goa is like the beautiful architecture. I mean, like it's remarkable. It's fascinating. It's beautiful. The architecture you see, the icons, and the paintings and stuff. But as far as the Baptist faith is concerned, or Baptist Christianity is concerned, very iconoclastic. Really does. We have no concept of these beautiful churches. Maybe you find some quaint little churches on top of a hill, which has become very much part of the Naga identity if you come to Naga villages. But we don't have very iconoclastic. Like the Baptist faith is. But something that you will, as I've mentioned, as far as Catholicism is concerned, which I'm not going into, you find in terms of the saints and the icons and the paintings and the beautiful structures for Nagas, or at least for the Baptists or for the Baptist Christians, what you find is the impact of Protestantism in the institutions. I mean, that's quite fascinating. Something which is not visible. Institutions, and more so in the way of life and how people perceive themselves. And just coming back to the point that I raised, how this particular faith has shaped or given some kind of semblance of unity to something called the Naga identity. And it's very controversial, right? People would say there's nothing called Naga identity, or there's nothing called Naga tribe. That's what critics would say. And yes, they have some point, because my point and what I'm going to be speaking about is how this particular brand of Christianity has given some shape or some identity to this vast, this group of tribes. I think according to the Naga National Council list, we have, I think, about 76 tribes spread across the international border, right? And calling ourselves as Naga and then fighting the Indian state. That's how complex the history is. Can I just go to the next slide, if it's possible? Yeah, so just let me, this is quite interesting, because I've just been, because of my book, the upcoming book, I'm working on a biography, and then I have to deal a lot with Nehru, Gandhi, and many other national leaders. And one thing that I've been observing is that Nehru had a very poor, in fact, if you read his letters to the chief ministers, he even used the word that proselytism, conversion is allowed according to the Indian constitution. That is what he has mentioned. But Nehru had very poor idea, or rather very, I should say, very antagonistic view of of Christianity, because of this bunch of unruly, free, very resilient bunch of people called Nagas. I think they gave a lot of trouble to Nehru when India was beginning, or when India was starting as a nation. So this is something just which I took from the archives. It's a letter to the chief ministers. He's saying that if you see this, terms of independence. So I think Nehru is holding the Protestant missionaries or Christian missionaries responsible for separatism, or for inducing what he calls as secessionist tendencies in the tribes. And this is we also have to understand this. Just can I go to the next slide? Yeah. So this is such an important event that happened in the Naga Hills. Naga Hills was earlier, before Nagaland, it used to be called as Naga Hills. We were part of Assam. So the only time that Nehru came to Naga Hills was in 1953. And mind you, I think this is the time when I think Nehru was like Shah Rukh Khan, or if any Gen Z, Justin Bieber, or Jungkook, something like that. We see in 1949, I was just checking the archives, and just imagine 1949, there were 6 lakh people attending his, in Mumbai. 6 lakh people attending. That's how the cult status which Nehru enjoyed. So what happened is, when Nehru came to the Naga Hills, Nagas wanted to give a memorandum. The administration didn't allow, and then the Nagas walked out. It was such an embarrassment for Nehru. Just imagine somebody walking out on him, And this is actually what, to be frankly enough, what, if I may be allowed to say this, people in the mainland call as, tribes or savages or naked people and so on and so forth, walking out on Naga. And then rubbing salt to the wound. The worst thing that happened in this in 1953 when Nehru visited Kohima was the Burmese premier Unu was with him, and it was such an embarrassment for Nehru. Right? Can we go to the next slide, please? So, no, just back one, just. Yes, so this is the Kohima missionary. He's a Baptist missionary. He was there. He was there in the function, and he was receiving Nehru. So this is what he wrote. Just if you can see, we were seated close to the platform and did not know what was taking place until we saw Nagas turn their backs on Nehru, and nearly 3,500 Nagas walked out on him. Nehru had not expected this insulting response, and in his speech, he made no secret of his suspicions and declared the incident to be irrefutable evidence of the sinister influence of foreigners. Foreigners means here, he says that it's either the British colonial officers or the Christian missionaries whose presence in Naga Hills would in a short time be terminated. So this is exactly what Anderson, the American Baptist missionary stationed in Kohima, writes about. So can we just go to the next slide? So yeah, this is a little bit about the Nagas, as I introduced in the beginning. Transnational, this is just a quote that I took out from my book. More so, I think Naga history, our religion and politics becomes very significant, more complex, is because we are at the juncture of what we call as Southeast and Southeast Asia. And so you have this China, the influence of China, India, Burma, and then Myanmar, exerting political, economic influence on this strip of land, what I call as the Baptist Highland. Can we just go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So who are the Baptist Nagas, or who are Baptist Christians? To reiterate what I just mentioned, we call ourselves as the Baptist Vatican of the world, or I think Nagaland is about, according to the new census, 98% Christian. I mean, that's a lot. And out of 98%, I think 85% Baptist, 85 to 89. That's a huge number. I think Mississippi is about 54% Baptist, and Texas 55. But we are talking about a small tiny state in India, which is about 85% Baptist. So large number. But I think this Baptist Christianity, more than other faiths. So if you see Mizoram, you have the influence of the Welsh Presbyterians, or if you see Assam, or if you see Bengal, there's influence of the British Baptists. But as far as Nagaland is concerned, and a little bit portion of southern part of Mizoram, these were heavily influenced by the Baptist missionaries. And then, I mean, this is what, when during the Second Vatican Council, I'm sure if there's any Catholic here, you'll be able to appreciate this. I mean, they say that the American Baptist is the most difficult of all Protestants to comprehend. And this holds true. I mean, this proved to be true not only for the case of the Americans, but even for the Indian state, even for the Indian national leaders. I mean, posed such a big challenge to them, to the Indian state, in terms of having this sense of very distinct political consciousness. And this is something that I've been arguing in my upcoming book, that Nagas were able to have this very distinct, very much informed political consciousness, and this happened because of the American Baptist route. So a lot of problem begins here. Nehru thinks that Nehru imagery, or Nehru's idea of Protestant faith or Protestant Christianity in India stems from the Nagas. It was such a problem for Nehru, demanding a separate state, and this, going to China. I mean, it's very interesting because I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Nagas going to, and these are very devout Baptist Christians, going to China in 66, 67, getting trained, under Mao Zedong, coming back and fighting the Indian state. I'm sure if you are a little bit aware of the history of Northeast India, I mean, that is exactly what has happened with the Nagas. And it's interestingly, most of you might be aware of Veriel Elwin, who calls the Baptist brand of Christianity spreading in Tuengsang. Tuengsang is a district, it used to be under Nefa. Yes, Nefa. So he calls the Baptist mission or Baptist Christianity spreading or growing in the Twensang frontier division as the Ars of Christianity. Very derogatory, that's what Elwin is using. Can we just go to the next slide? So, as far as the Baptist Protestants are concerned, their worldview is quite very distinct, and I think it has very much shaped the Naga identity as well. In the sense, even today, if you talk to an average Naga Baptist adherent and ask them what is the heart of Christianity, they would say it's mission or it's evangelism. And then I think, especially in the West, evangelism, conversion, or mission has become a kind of a controversial word. So much so that people don't use the word evangelism or proselytism anymore. But if you come or if you talk to any ordinary Baptist Indian or a Baptist Naga in Northeast India, they would say that mission is the heart of Christianity, or mission is the heart of the faith. And a lot of initiation or a lot of mission is being undertaken by the Nagas. Yeah, so very evangelical in faith. And I think this also, because of the evangelism, this has again led to different strengths of the types of Christians or the types of adherents that you find among the Naga Baptists. Can we just go to the next slide, please? Yes. So the big question that I'm going to ask is, and this is a thing that which people from the Indian intelligence, they've been asking since 1950s, even up to now, or this is something many people ask, critics as well as scholars, is whether Protestant Christianity foments a feeling of anti-nationalism or separatism among ethnic communities like the Mizos and Nagas in India, Chins, Kachins, and Karens in Myanmar. I was very interested. Recently I found that at least for the Indian intelligence, for the IB, they think that Baptist Christians are lesser Indian nationalists than the Catholics. This is quite fascinating. This, according to the declassified file. So what Malloy Krishna Dhar mentions in Open Secrets, he said that I must mention that about the perverted, he's saying that it's a perverted perception of some of the policy planners in Delhi that treated Baptist Christians as lesser nationalists than Catholics. So because if you are a Baptist, or if you are a Baptist Naga, you are a lesser nationalist. So if you are a Catholic Naga, you are what? Maybe a better, a more faithful Indian nationalist. That is the perception. And it's what Malawdhar goes on to mention is that he said that the Indian government, Indian state, purposefully allowed people from Catholics from Kerala, from South India to actually come to Nagaland and do the mission work. Now that's quite interesting, right? The Indian state, to counteract the so-called anti-national tendencies among the Baptist Nagas, they allowed people from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, the Catholics, to come and do mission in Nagaland. That's what Malay Krishna Dhar talks about. Can we just go to the next slide, please?
Okay, so what date was that comment?
Oh, the comment, the Malay Dhar, 1960s and 70s. Yeah.
He's referring to the 50s then.
Yeah, 50s, 60s. But he was referring to the 50s and 60s. Yeah. So how a Naga responds? People like myself. So this is exactly one of the leading Naga intellectuals, peace activists. I don't know how many of you are aware of this one very interesting gentleman called Angami Zapu Pizo. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just cracking my head trying to finish his biography. It's been 3 years. Niketu Iralu is a nephew of Angami Zapu Pizo. I was just having a conversation with him, and then for Nagas to say that, and this is a controversy because, and I just want to, this is something that I want to leave, and it's open for discussion. so far the perception, and I'm not supporting the Baptists here. I'm a Baptist myself, a practicing Baptist myself, but so far the perception among, so if I may use this word, in the mainland is that it is the foreign missionaries or the white people who come and instigate or teach tribals about nationalism and create problems or create secessionist tendencies for the Indian state. That is not the case. At least what Uncle Niketu Iralu says is that he says that it's insulting to a Naga intelligence to say that some white people or some foreign missionaries has to come and teach a tribal about nation state, nationalism, and national identity and ethnic identity. That's at least what Nagas like myself would think. Or we also said that it is a casteist attitude for someone to say and say that you tribal, somebody, white people, some Gore Manu has to come and then teach nationalism to us. So this is something that I wanted to quote from my book as well. Can we just go to the next slide, please? Yes, so in conclusion, what I want to talk about is Baptist Christians or Naga Baptist Christians are not a monolithic entity with three types. I mean, as far as, in my analysis of trying to understand this group of people, there's one group of people called fundamentalist Baptist Christians. For them, it's totally fundamentalist. So for them, they would use this narrative of India as Egypt and Nagas as Israel, and we have to drive out. If you know the biblical narrative, about Israel and Egypt, that's what we have. Some group of people who thinks that there's no differentiation between Christian worldview and Naga nationalism. So Naga nationalism and Christian worldview, these are same, right? Also, we have this former NSCN chairman called Isaac Chishisu. I'm sure some of you must know him. He belongs to this group. And there's another group of Naga leaders or Naga people who we call them as the Naga essentialists. So these Naga essentialists, for them, very devout, practicing Baptists. In fact, even Tunggaling Muiva, I'm sure the NSCN General Secretary himself is a very devout Christian. Or the Angami Zapu Piso. So for them, this though they are very practicing Baptists and believe in heaven and hell and all the Baptist doctrines, for them, this sense of Naga-ness or this sense of Naga identity derives from the past tradition. Who Nagas were, about that we were separate from India, that we were more honest. That's what they would say. That we have different culture. That's what exactly people like Zapu Piso and Muiva would believe or would propound. So I'm not just going to go into that. If you want to know more about Christian socialism, I can explain. But Muiva, interestingly trained in the Maoist ideology, practices some very interesting ideology in the Naga society called Christian socialism. And for me, I think I got into trouble because of this term that I coined. If you want to read, it's in Scroll. I was lambasted by both the right people and my fellow Naga brethren for using the word Indians. They're saying that we can't be Indians. That's what Nagas are claiming. So for me, there's a growing bunch of Naga young people who thinks that our Indianness is this. It's a piece of paper. Indian Constitution. You take this away, my Naganess is gone. This is quite fascinating. I just got this printed. So Constitution. So for a person like me, Baptist definitely, right? But we are also very, very, very conscious of our history. Or at least our culture, which goes maybe to Yunnan or to Southeast Asia, not to the Indo-Gangetic plain. But I think our connection to what the fact that I call myself as a very proud Indian, I might look like this, but I'm no lesser Indian, huh? Yeah, I think I'm more Indian. So what makes me or many young people, especially our generation, why we call ourselves as Indian is not because of the shared history or not because of the shared culture or shared civilization, which is open to debate. But I think for many of us, we consider ourselves as Baptists, definitely Christians, proud of our Naga heritage and our culture and our history. We call ourselves Indians because of this piece of paper, which talks about fraternity, equality, irrespective of caste, class, and religion, and so on and so forth. So I think that's something that makes us Indian. So I'm just showing you how complex the Naga society and how politically and even with regards to religion, how we are, or at least how we can be classified. So let me just end here. Thank you so much for listening patiently. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks very much for opening up a discussion topic, which I think a lot of us, well, some of us here know very well, but some of us obviously don't. I mean, just for the uninitiated like myself, can you give me a rough sort of timeline of some of these main occurrences? So when did the American missionaries arrive in Naga land and start their mission? How did that fit in? Was it just confined to a couple of states around there, or was it also in the Burmese side of the border? Just tell us a little bit about the initial kind of introduction.
Oh, yeah. That's a little bit briefly about. So the first instance of the American Baptist Mission coming to the east is in Burma, 1813, Rangoon. And I think the history starts there. But as far as India is concerned, it is 1836. We are celebrating 200 years in a few years. So I think people in Baptists in Northeast India are gearing up for that. 1836, that is the first time the American Baptist Mission came to Northeast India. And from there it went to Orissa, Andhra, and it spread to different parts. So, but as far as the Nagas are concerned, it's very interesting because if you see the whole history of the American Baptist Mission, they were unable to penetrate or to evangelize the caste society. So I was just seeing the statistics. There's one missionary to the Nagas whom we consider to be a hero called Edward Clark. So he was in Assam for 30 years. And in 30 years, I think the conversion was 98 people in 30 years. So what Clark found out was that among the Garos of Assam and Meghalaya and Nagas, he found that within a month, the conversion that took place among the hill tribes, the Garos and Nagas, it became more than what the mission in Assam was, 30 years. So I think that's when the American Baptist missionaries decided, no, we have to abandon the caste societies and go up to so-called the animists, which are more open to embracing the Baptist faith. Yeah.
And when did that take place?
So the first instance of the missionary contact with the Nagas, at least my tribe, it was sometime in 1840s. Which failed because there are lots of stories about this, that they said that they got converted, went back to the villages and they were killed. That's what some people say. But I think Baptist mission became a force to be reckoned with sometime in 1872. So that is the first contact in our Nagas. I'm sure those of you who know a little bit about the Naga tribe. So it started with them in 1870s and 1880s. To the Angami Nagas, and then by 1910 and 1920s and 30s, I'm from one Naga tribe called the Sema Naga. Yeah, so to the Sema Naga tribes and things like that. But there's also misconception among the among people who are not very aware of how mission history or how the whole mission process has happened in the Naga areas, is that maximum conversion happened with the local evangelists and the local pastors. So perhaps the American Baptist missionaries could just convert 20, 30 people. But you see, if you come to Nagaland, especially during the 1950s and 60s when this whole violence was happening, you go to the eastern part of Nagaland, there's stories or there are records that can attest that there were about 3,000, 4,000 people converting in a day to the Baptist faith, So Baptists, we are known for something very interesting practice called water baptism. We do full water immersion. So there's a pastor whom I met, and he said that it was so tiresome that he had to whole day baptizing people, take lunch, sleep, wake up, and then, goes up to midnight. That's how fast the conversion had happened. But like I said, I think conversion happened mostly at the hands of the local converts rather than the white missionaries.
Just a couple more questions, and one very quick one was, you mentioned there's something like 30 mutually incomprehensible languages.
Yes.
So what is it that's actually providing these sort of geographic boundaries between these regions to prevent transmission of language and I presume other culture as well?
Yeah, thank you. I think because we are talking about one group of tribe, what we call as the Konyak Naga, and this is a transnational tribe because you find them in Arunachal Pradesh, in Assam, Nagaland, and the majority of the Konyak Nagas are just across the border in Myanmar. And as Dr. Kustup mentioned, one fine day the state came and just erected the boundary. They didn't ask people's permission. I mean, I think which is it can be labeled as anti-national or in today's situation to talk about borders and stuff. So I mean, even today, so you have people village on the Indian side, Jhumphil on the Burmese side, and border becomes a problem. Because it's a matter of livelihood. So for centuries, you were just able to move freely, farm, go across the border, the present modern state border, marry each other. And suddenly, post 47, everything stops. They say you can't, you need visa or you need Aadhaar or so on and so forth. So I think this is creating a lot of problem. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, the language among the Konyak Nagas. They're very much spread to the different parts. And linguistic experts are mentioning, they mention that possibly the diversity of the language has to do with isolation. You have one language, but if they are in different geographic location, it's not something like aerial, that's a different thing. To walk from one village to other, it might be mountain, you can just see, but it takes the whole day because of the terrain, So when people are isolated for generations, for centuries, what happens is they start developing their own languages. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you'll find, a mind-boggling linguistic diversity among the Nagas. Yeah. But coming to the question is that it was the Baptist faith. If it were not for the Baptist faith, there wouldn't have been one united or what we call as an ethnic community called the Konyak Nagas. And here, the Bible translation and the hymnals, they have played a remarkable role. Because irrespective of 33 languages, the missionaries, what they did is they translated the literature into the language of the first village they came into contact with. So that's how they were able to. And the same story goes even to the Chin Hills. So in Chin Hills, you have today they speak 3 languages, Falam, Hakka, and Tidim. And we are talking about how the American Baptist missionaries, like people like Joseph Cope, were able to reduce about 100 plus languages into 3 languages. So that's how, how remarkable or how influential the American Baptist mission has been, at least with regards to our linguistic identity and ethnic identity. Yeah.
Okay, just one more question. I'll hand over. Some of the quotes you were showing there were really quite shocking, actually, from Nehru and other people in the 50s. But I'm just wondering what prompted it. I mean, I think at that period in time, I think the CIA were meant to use the Baptist missionaries as a mechanism for doing some of their kind of dirty deeds around the world. I mean, do you think Nehru's views were completely unfounded, or do you think there were some malign intent on the part?
Oh yeah, I wish this exactly. There's been numerous books written on the Nagas, but so far nobody has actually taken or made an attempt to understand the influence of the intelligence agencies, whether it's be it China or be it the United Kingdom or Bangladesh or what it used to be called as East Pakistan back then, So that is something that has to be explored. If anybody is willing to take a risk, I think you can do that. Most welcome to do that. But yeah, definitely. In fact, if you see if you go to the archives, it was sometime in 1950s. The American embassy in Delhi they made an official statement saying that we, means the CIA or the United States, is in no way involved with the Naga problem. So if they did declare the official statement during Nehru's period, I'm sure Nehru might have been very suspicious of the CIA's activity. Yeah.
So a forest of hands coming up.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I'm quite intrigued by the fact that you're telling about 4,000 baptisms used to happen in a single day.
In a single day, yes.
And so what would you think is the cause? There should be some sort of a reason why people are changing their faith. What do you think is the reason?
That is a very deep sociological question you're asking. Lots of theories do exist. But one reason that we give is that mass conversion happened because Nagas, we have different political systems. So if you talk the Angami Nagas, the Konyak Nagas, they have a little bit of a republican form of government where the elders decides that how, laws and customary laws and land and, so and so forth should be handled or how it should be managed. But I belong to the Konyak Nagas and the Sumi Nagas, we have this system called autocratic chieftain. I mean, like the Konyak Angs, I invite you to at least go visit the Konyak Naga villages. They are the way they consider themselves, they think that they are better than Prince Charles or, Diana. And so the kind of royalty, that the sense of, importance that they have. So especially among mass conversion happened, and there are enough studies to show that among the Nagas which had chieftainship system. So if the missionaries were able to convince the chief and say, you convert, and if the chief converts, they say, all the villagers. So the entire villages converts. So that is the case that we are observing. So it was not the individual, as Christians would say, that personal conviction, Holy Spirit convicting me. It's not that. It is the political system. Or it is the chief who says, if you don't convert, leave the village, or you can't do farming. That's one of the reasons, yeah. So it's very complex.
Same like Christianity. It's happened in Europe the same way.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that, yeah. So chieftainship system, yeah.
Okay. Should I ask? Okay. Actually, my question was already asked by the moderator, but I think inadequately answered. My question is about Naga essentialism. Because again and again, when you talk about Baptists, you're going to more or less the first type of Naga. But, when you said there are 76 Naga tribes, if I've got the number right,
yes,
or whatever, yes, and some 30, 40 mutually unintelligible languages. Now, what I'm trying to understand is, what makes a Naga feel that he is a Naga, he or she is a Naga, in the sense that usually it is language. But in this case, not only are the languages different, you are saying many of them are unrelated to each other. They are, and it's only after the missionaries came that some of them were reduced and standardized or whatever. But do you mean to say that prior to the missionaries coming, this group of tribes, they did not feel any sense of unity or belonging to each other, even if they called it by another name, even if they didn't say, we are Nagas. But say, in comparison, say, to the tribes of Meghalaya, the Jaintias, the Garos, the, Khasis, whatever there, or other tribes in Mizoram, the Mizos, did they feel we are different from them, but we are not different from each other? Or they felt we are all equally different and it's only... So I'm trying to understand usually it is language, but in this case, if it is not language, then what made Naga essentialism? If you can tell us that, and if you can just tell us from a sociological angle, do these tribes freely intermarry with each other, or are marriages and relationships separate within these?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I think that's so we are going into the whole Naga anthropology here. So let me just be as brief as possible. Yeah, so before the coming of the British colonialism, if I may, the pre-colonial period, Nagas had this, like if you see the Naga culture, sociologically speaking, so as far as identity construction is concerned, we have three types. We have something called primordialism, constructivism, and instrumentalism. I'm not going to the other two. Primordialism means that you have a sense of identity or togetherness, belongingness, because you think that we all descended from one ancestor. That's exactly what the Nagas believe. Me and Angami Nagas, we kill each other, we fight each other. We don't see eye to eye because of politics. But as far as our identity, our culture is concerned, we think that we all emerge from one Chakesang village called Kejakenuma. That is there. So there's a sense of linguistic diversity. Even within the Angamis, you have differences with the northern, western, and what the Angami, something called language that they speak today, Tenyemi, is basically it's a missionized language. So Nagas do have that. So irrespective of whether you're from India, Arunachal, or from Burma, there's a sense of cultural similarity. I can give you one good example: headhunting, which I mean, like, I just don't want to mention that it makes us very exotic, but definitely. We also had this system of keeping orphans. Or one, I think, good example is our common myth of origin. So somebody might be in Burma, somebody might be in Mon district in Nagaland, but they would all say that, oh, we are from that place. So for instance, there's a tribe called Wancho Naga or Nokte Naga in Arunachal, but they all believe that their origin starts from Nagaland in Tuengsang. So that's some sense of cultural identity with regards to culture, common myth of origin that is there. But I think this is becoming much more blurred because of today's politics, because of violence and so on and so forth. So much so that people are trying to rewrite their history. So today, if you go to Arunachal Pradesh and talk to a Nokte, Wancho, or a Tangsa, they would say, like, we don't want to be Nagas because we are so fed up of the NSNIM. We are tired of fighting. We want to be peaceful with the Indian state. No more fighting, no more Naga sovereignty, no more Naga nationalism. We had suffered enough. So in order to move away, despite these like oral traditions existing, they're moving away from the so-called Naga generic family because of political reasons. Yeah.
And what about marriage between the tribes?
Yes, so yeah, definitely. So usually two types. So Nagas, basically we practice something called clan exogamy and tribe endogamy. So the preference is that you usually marry within the tribe and marry outside the clan. Yeah. So if you end up falling somebody from your own clan, you can be chased out from the village or from the community. Very strict even today. So, but just there's another point here is that interestingly, especially if you go to the eastern part of Nagaland and towards Arunachal Pradesh and Myanmar, we call them as the Eastern Nagas. The differences lies not at the tribal level, but at the clan level. So possibly same tribe, but I can't marry somebody from another tribe if he or she is from the same clan. So again, that complexity exists. So
Clans cut across tribes.
Tribes also, yes. Konyak or Yimchunger or you have some like Chang. So even different tribe, but same clan. Because there is a common myth of origin, common history that they share. So it's very, very complex. As far as the Naga identity is concerned, very malleable, very fluid, very amorphous. But they're just coming back to the question. Different tribe, but even in some instances, there are what you call as the preferential marriage. So you can marry somebody from another tribe, but from that clan. That kind of arrangement exists, yeah. So, but to understand that, I think you have to delve more into the whole political, the whole customs and the beliefs of the Nagas. Yeah.
How come the language didn't transmit then? If there's marriages between tribes, language
It's between.
Oh, yes. So what has happened? And because village plays a very important role. Village. In fact, Naga nationalists, they love using this word, something called Naga Republic. So village republic. So to be a member, I might be from A tribe and I migrate to B tribe, but to be identified as a B tribe, I have to speak the language of that village. So that is how the language shifts.
Sorry,
It's really interesting that in Nagaland you have Baptist, which is quite a difficult denomination of Christianity to follow. Right from baptism, where they insist that you should go into a pool and be immersed completely into the water and brought out, and that's how they get their name. It's a very difficult denomination. We have had our Naga here, Mr. S.C. Jamir, as our governor in 2005, 2008. And we had the NEPAD interaction right here in this very international center in 2006. So looking at the spread of the Baptist Christian faith in Nagaland, would you attribute it to the need to unite under a single banner, so to say, when India was formed? When it was British Raj, Nagas had no problem because everything was porous and the British control was not very strong in the area.
Yes, exactly.
The northeast frontier was completely porous. You could go very easily to Burma before it became Myanmar. Bangladesh, as East Pakistan, also was very porous at that time till it was formed and the borders consolidated. was the need to have an identity, one because of the Mongol race being different from the rest of India,
Yes,
especially the Indo-Gangetic plains.
Yes.
And very nicely you have brought out the fact that people from South India, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala were sent to Nagaland to try and get you to become
Catholics.
Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
But they did not use anyone from Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, or Punjab or anywhere. They used people from South to come try and make you mainstream Roman Catholic. So it would be. And even recently we have seen. You can have it later, please. Even recently we have seen the government trying to get the Roman Catholics on their side with tea with Prime Minister or something when there was a problem in Manipur, which again Protestants, mostly Baptists.
Yes, yes.
So they get isolated between the Christians, they get isolated by mollycoddling the Catholics. So was this possibly a reason why the chieftains over there got the entire village converted? It happened in Goa also, where we have the Comunidad system, where the Comunidad decided that from today onwards, our temple will be a church and everything is going to be Roman Catholic. Then the one who was Hindu, he was already on the margin. So it happens everywhere. Was that a cause that in the 1950s, you had the growth of Baptists in Nagaland to that level? 85% is a big percentage. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Oh yeah. So in fact, it's a very difficult religion. I mean, the strictly practice called something called teetotalism. One of my uncle refused to convert to Christianity, to Baptist Christianity, because he liked drinking. Because once you become a Baptist, I mean, they're very strict. It can be
no booze.
Yeah, no booze, no booze. Even today, I dabble a little bit in wine and beer, but no hard drinks for me. That's how ingrained we are. So, but just coming back to the question about the Catholic, about the Catholicism, is that as far as Nagaland is concerned, the Baptist movement was so strong. It was spreading like wildfire. It did not give space for other denominations to enter. So definitely the Catholics had interest. They wanted to come. The Pentecostals wanted to come. The Presbyterians, you had the Anglicans, they tried. Anglicans tried on Burma side, they failed terribly. And it was so important that if you go to the eastern part of Nagaland and Burma, they say that to be a Naga, to call ourselves Naga, two things. We have to be the follower of Angamizapu Pizo. Because you have different factions, even today. You have the NSCN. I mean, we have about 10, 15 different Naga factional groups. But they said to call ourselves Naga, two things. We have to be practitioners of Baptist faith, and then we have to be the followers of Angamizapu Pizo's party. So I mean, that's how important. I'm talking about Baptist, not in the sense of a way of life or a religion, but becoming part and parcel of the Naga identity. That's how important that is. So that means to become a Catholic means that you have stopped becoming a Naga for some Nagas. Or to become an Anglican means that you have stopped becoming a Naga. So that is how even today, especially if you go to the eastern part of Nagaland, this kind of consciousness or this kind of idea exists even today. So just quickly coming back to your question, yes, they did try. We have evidence to show that there were people wanting to open schools, and Jesuits are very successful because of the schools, but they were not very as successful as today. Why? Because the Baptist faith, it was such a force to be reckoned with, very popular, that it did not give space for other denominations to enter. Yeah. And by 60s, 70s, when the Catholics somehow became majority of the Nagas were Baptists. Yeah.
Sorry, I started coughing at the wrong time. So my question is based on food, Christianity, and Naga culture. Pre-Christianity, Nagas had a unique culture or assimilation of food cultures.
Yes, yes.
Post-baptism, there would be a change in food, am I right? Your food habits would change, your hunting habits would change as well. Can you let us know a little how much it has changed?
Yeah, so if there is not much change when we regards to, but I think if there is one dimension which changed tremendously is narcotics. I mean, like Nagas, we have this very deep knowledge, very diverse knowledge about narcotics. And that is one thing. So much so that opium used to be a part of many Naga cultures. Even today, it's such a menace for many Naga society. The other thing with regards to food, that's something which was such a staple part of our food is rice beer. Rice beer. I mean, if you come to Hornbill, the government say, "Oh, please have it," and then, but even today, it's looked down upon. So I think one thing, if with regards to food, meat and other things didn't much change, but narcotics and when it comes to alcohol,
On
those
that same
very strict-
question,
yeah, yeah.
the other tribes have slightly different foods also?
Oh yes, they do have different slightly food. So, as for instance, my tribe and few Eastern Nagas, we are very well known for one this. How many of you have heard this one called akuni? Yeah, that's something that's very much so that
It's smelly but tasty.
yeah, thank you. So much so that it's considered to be part of the Sema Naga identity. We have myths about that. Yeah. So
Do I give the mic to anybody
differences?
else?
Yeah.
Anybody else like the mic?
There's a Oya Gumami, outstanding Naga restaurant.
Yep.
We have 10 more minutes left, so it's time
Anyone
for
else
2
with
more questions.
questions?
One over there and one over here.
So I think related about narcotics, I do travel to Nagaland quite often. So, Chizami, for example, is a village where I went. The oldest man there is a 95-year-old, and he spoke about his times and the time when he converted and how it was and what the scene is today. So while he talks about the good part of conversion, that he became a Baptist Christian, but at the same time, a new narrative that I get to see and hear from the youngsters is that some of them, I don't know if it is across, but some of them are really not happy about the prohibition on alcohol, right? So it's like either we have to, drink somewhere. You get alcohol. It's not that you do not get. You get it, but it's that we have to hide and drink. And if we are caught, especially by the elders, we'll have a terrible time at home. So there is this, somewhere I see that among the youth at least, they are not very happy about this strict prohibition that has come with a religion. Which otherwise actually, if they were not Christians, then this prohibition wouldn't have been applied. So do you have a view on this as to, is it sustainable? Like in Mizoram, it is very, very strictly again, followed. Is it similar in Nagaland? I do not see as much, but do you think it's a problem arising out of a prohibition out there?
Yes. I mean, there could be many debates around it, but we also have to just going back to history. The American Baptist mission that came from the United States had one very interesting Christian doctrine called temperance movement. I mean, like strict teetotalism. That means to be a Baptist means you don't have the. And the interesting thing was it was tried in the United States and failed. So they had to open up. But the same philosophy which began sometime in the late 19th century and early 20th century is still applied in Nagaland. So I think that's one of the reasons more educated young people are saying that it failed, tried and failed in our the place of our faith, United States, and how come even today that it is being applied. So that is one argument that they're giving. The other thing also is that NLTP, as far as the Prohibition Act is concerned, it's not strictly applied. I mean, if you come to Hornbill Festival, you get alcohols, right? I'm sure, I don't know how many of you have been there. You have whiskeys and rum and beer and so on and so forth. So it's also smacks of hypocrisy. That's what young people are saying. And the other thing that, especially there's been a pushback from the young people saying that, yes, we are devout Christians and we are practicing Christians, but they're also saying that possibly because of the prohibition on alcohol, this is leading to more drug addiction because we are in a very important drug route as far as Nagaland is concerned. You have this very crude form of heroin called sunflower, which is like easily available everywhere. So I think that there has been a pushback from the young people. So it's saying that possibly when the first Baptist mission started among the Nagas, it was a community endeavor. So the community had a lot of say. But again, there's a question of one thing unique about Baptist Christianity is that it promotes individualism. That me and God, and me and Christ, and me and Holy Spirit. So I think with regards to that, people are saying that I think the church should not, or the community should not, or the organization should not impose alcohol or say to people who should drink and who should not drink. Because it should be left to the individuals going as per the Baptist doctrine or Baptist belief. That's what the argument is, yeah. So just...
Chap over there, then. Final question. He's got one already.
Hello. So thank you, sir, for a very incredible session. In the middle of the session, you said that there is a risk in studying this. So I just wanted a clarity. Is there an innate risk in studying this and exploring this culture? Or is it just like pre-existing notions that we cannot explore properly? And a second question that I would like to ask is, in India currently we are seeing that Catholics and Muslims are being prosecuted, they are being charged, brutally assaulted, and they are being shown as this British thing, that they are this British notion that it's given to them. Even though the fact is that Catholics have been existing in southern India since, I believe, 42 AD, they have been existing for a very long time, even before the British came to India in themselves. But the notion and the political agenda, even the constitutional Indians that you said, the notion that is being spread by the one party is that this is a British thing, this is not an Indian thing, this is not an innate Indian thing. So these were the two questions that I had.
Yeah. So with regards to the risk of doing research on the intelligence agencies, that's what you're talking about, right? I mean, it's very risky. In the sense, because you have to, because see, as far as the Naga issue is concerned, it's very volatile. It's still ongoing, because you have a huge section of the Naga population. Even people like me, I have to be very honest, we are still very sympathetic to the whole Naga cause, Naga nationalism. I don't know if I may be allowed to say that or not. I'm being very honest. Proud Indian, but still we are. I'm a very pragmatic person. That's why I'm like, okay, we have to settle and then live peacefully, coexist. But emotionally, I think there's a lot of attachment to that. And then the Indian government is very wary of, somebody going and then picking up what the CIA did, or because there's enough evidence to show that the British MI6 was involved. And I mean, recently I found in Dhaka, I mean, like with the ISI, with the Naga coast, which nobody knew. And but in order to just dig these things up, I think it becomes very, very problematic. The other thing to your question regarding Goa.
May I add one thing?
Yes, please.
A first-hand account, when I visited to one of these troubled areas for some research that I wanted to do, may I say that Intelligence Bureau kept me captive for 3 days.
Exactly.
So that's just, sorry? Fear. I'm an outsider going there.
Yes.
So I was not treated badly, but I was not allowed to go anywhere outside for 3 days. Then.
Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah. So, in fact, quickly, there's recent studies shows that the Indian state has spent more on intelligence activity rather than development, especially in the borderland. I mean, that's how complex. I mean, I wish I have the access to how much the Indian government has spent setting up what they call as agents, as spies and things like that. Tremendous amount of money has been spent. Yeah.
Quick question, quick answer.
No, I'm saying that in terms of social formations or evolutions of societies, you've been a system for, let's say, 1,000 years. And Baptist Christianity is only about 100 years old.
150 years.
150 years old. So in the streams of consciousness of the community and of the tribes, is there any hypothetical question as to what could have happened if baptism hadn't come? Or is there a regret of baptism? Or can there be a regret of baptism in coming times?
Oh my God.
Something like that.
You're going to get me in trouble. Can I be very blunt here? I'm a Naga. Yeah. I won't be speaking to you in English. the fact that I'm speaking to you in English is because of the Baptist heritage. It's because of the Baptist mission, the education. I mean, it's very controversial about how things went wrong, what could have gone. And see, you ask any Naga, and I mean, see, for me, my parents were not very conscious of caste system. And one regret that I will have, a big regret, is that I will have children who will be very conscious of there's something called caste system exists in India. Today, I can be very frank, I can look Acharya, I can look at Dubey, I can look at Sharma in India and say, I'm as good as you. I don't suffer that sense of inferiority complex. The top-notch, learned Sanskrit scholar from Banaras, I can look in the eye and say that I'm as good as you. And this comes from our sense of Baptist heritage, which says that we are all created in God's image. So I'm not in defense of Christianity, or I'm not an apologist for Baptist faith, but that comes. So even today, if you actually know the book that I'm working on, so his sense of independence, his sense of rebellion, his sense of that, because I realized that Piso was a little bit racist. He looked down on Indians. He said, "You useless people," you even, I mean, that's a bit racist also. So he thought that Nagas were a bit superior race than what he calls as the Indians. And this stems from his Baptist root, that he has been taught that, that there is a God and who empowers, and that we are all been created in God's image. So definitely, I mean, I would say that if there was no Baptist Christianity in Nagaland, I think Nagaland, what it is today, with 70-80% wouldn't exist. As far as our identity, our sense of nationalism, our sense of literature, our sense of exposure to the outside world is concerned, that is something. But the point here, and which we are yet to explore, the point here is, and this is what many people are asking, would Nagas have this sense of something called Naga nationalism if Catholics if they came first to Nagaland? And that's a question. We don't know. It's just hypothetical. So sociologists are theorizing about that.
That's what.
Yeah, exactly, but we don't know.
You might have read, because in Goa we are Roman Catholics, and we have that feeling of Goanness, whereas we are part of the Konkan. We don't want any other districts of the rest of Konkan, either from Maharashtra or Kanato, to be part of it, because we are Goa. And that comes from the Catholic setup during the Portuguese time. So,
I think
it could happen, it could happen.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, look, it's been really fantastic. You've opened up so much debate here about Indian identity, what we think of ourselves, think about minority religions and the history of an area that we don't know very well. So,
Thank you.